Hey there. Today, we're going to demystify a service that can literally become the central nervous system for your applications, AWS EventBridge. We'll break down how this one tool can completely change the way your apps talk to each other, making them way more resilient and scalable.
So think about how a lot of applications are built. Service A has to call service B, which then has to call service C. It's like a chain of command. And yeah, it works, but it's fragile. If service C goes down, the whole chain can break. This is what we call tight coupling, and it can be a real headache when you're trying to grow or add new features. But what if we could just flip that whole model on its head?
And that's exactly where AWS EventBridge steps in. It really does act like a central nervous system for your cloud setup, letting your services react to things as they happen, instead of constantly having to ask each other for status updates.
Now, if you look at the official definition, there are two words that are absolutely key here: serverless and event-driven. Serverless is just a huge win. It means you don't manage any servers. No patching, no worrying about scaling. AWS handles all of that for you. And event-driven, well, that describes the whole shift in thinking. Instead of making requests, our applications are now reacting to events.
You know, the easiest way to picture EventBridge is to think of it like a post office. Instead of your services running around delivering messages directly to each other, they just send their letters, or events, to one central post office. Then, the post office figures out who needs to get which letter and delivers it for them. The best part? Your services don't even need to know that the other ones exist.
All right, let's make this less abstract. We're going to use a classic real-world scenario: a customer placing an order on an e-commerce site. When that happens, a whole bunch of things need to kick off. So how does EventBridge handle all that?
Okay, check this out. The order service has no idea about the other services. It just does its one job. It announces, hey, an order was created, and publishes an order-created event. EventBridge acts like a super smart switchboard. It sees that one event, and based on rules we set up, it routes it to everyone who cares. So the inventory, shipping, and notification services all jump into action on their own, completely independent of each other. That's decoupling in action. So, how does this whole post office thing actually work under the hood? It's really built on three core pieces that work together to make sure events get where they need to go.
First up, you have the event bus. This is basically the front door of our post office. It's a central router that takes in all the events from your different sources, whether that's your own apps, other AWS services, or even third-party apps you use.
Next, we have the rule. Now think of a rule as the mail sorter working inside the post office. It looks at every single event that comes into the event bus. It checks the event's content to see if it matches a pattern we've defined. Like, hey, is the event type order created? If it's a match, the rule knows exactly what to do with it next.
And finally, we have the target. This is the destination, the actual mailbox. A rule sends an event to a target. And a target can be almost anything in AWS. A Lambda function to run some code, an SQS queue to hold a task, you name it. This is where the work actually gets done.
So let's just recap that real quick. The event bus is the post office, the rule is the sorting instructions, and the target is the mailbox. Events command, rules sort them, and targets get them. Simple, powerful, and super flexible.
Okay, now that we get the moving parts, let's talk about the big payoff. I mean, why go through all this? Well, the main benefits are all about agility and resilience.
When you decouple your services, you let your teams work independently. So imagine the shipping team wants to add a new feature. They just create a new rule that listens for order-created events. They don't have to talk to the orders team, they don't have to touch their code. This freedom speeds up development like you wouldn't believe. Plus, with built-in connections to hundreds of AWS services and partners like Zendesk or Salesforce, EventBridge can truly become the hub for your entire tech world.
But look, as powerful as it is, EventBridge isn't the magic bullet for every single problem. It's really important to know when a different tool might actually be a better fit for the job.
A question I hear all the time is, when do I use EventBridge versus SQS? The key thing to remember is the intent. You use EventBridge when you need smart routing and filtering, when one event needs to go to potentially many different places based on what's inside it. On the other hand, you use SQS for simple queuing, when you just need a reliable buffer for tasks, where one message gets picked up and processed by one worker.
And even inside EventBridge, there are choices. And Event Bus is what we've mostly been talking about. It's perfect for complex many-to-many routing. But AWS also has something called EventBridge pipes, which are designed for simple point-to-point connections.
So if all you need to do is connect one source, like a DynamoDB stream, to one target, a pipe is a much simpler way to get it done.
So, if you only remember one thing from this whole explainer, please let it be this. EventBridge lets your services communicate by reacting to events, not by making fragile, direct calls to each other. That's the secret sauce for building systems that are way more resilient, easier to scale, and a whole lot simpler to update over time.
This shift from requesting to reacting isn't just a technical detail. It's a totally new way to think about how you build software. When you give your applications the power to listen, you open up a whole universe of new possibilities. The only question left is, what will you build? Thanks for watching.